I wish I knew how to like truly rap. Not white boy rap, because this is a pretty great beat here. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Zach Dresler Show. Welcome to the third episode. I am Zach Dresler. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the channel and check us out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Amazon. Are we on Amazon too?
I tried.
Well, that's fine. Whatever. There's plenty.
It's
of
pending. It's pending.
I don't really know many people that use Amazon or Amazon Music. It's usually Apple or Spotify. I know a couple people do Pandora. But anyway, welcome to the show. Again, I'm Zach Dresler. What's that?
We're in all the markets.
We're in all the markets. Yeah, We're all in all the markets. That is Indy, my producer.
Hi, I'm Indy. Good to meet you.
Today we got a really fun show. This is it's gonna be like a holiday themed show. This is gonna come out, right before Christmas. It's Hanukkah, last night of Hanukkah, 8th night of Hanukkah was yesterday.
Hey, Mazel.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you say Mazel on the first and the last? Can you? As a goy, how do you? You
can say Mazel Tov for anything. You can say Mazel.
I like Mazel.
Yeah, I mean,
not the Tov. Though,
there's different
as an outsider.
Right. I mean, there's for Hanukkah. There's like I think I mentioned this last week. Hanukkah is not a high holy day. Is the least I think.
It's not.
No, it's not at all. It's Passover, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. Those are like the main three very religious holidays. And you definitely do not say on Yom Kippur, you definitely do not say Mazel Tov because it's a Day of Atonement.
Yes, of course.
Rosh Hashanah, I don't think you say. You say Shana Tova, Chag Sameach. Different. You say different Hebrew and Israeli and Jewish things, but not Mazel Tov.
But that's a celebration, right? It's like yay.
What for Mazel? Yeah, absolutely.
What's the translation?
It's good things. Good things. Yeah, it's like good things.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mazel. You usually say it like at bar mitzvahs, at weddings, anything, at a bris, someone giving birth. Those are the times you want to say it, or getting a new job, whatever it may be. Never ever say it at a funeral, obviously. But this... I will say I was disappointed in my Hanukkah traditions this year. I did not make, not one night. I wanted to do a different one every night, but not one night tonight. I did not make any potato pancakes. I really want to do like a different one every night, like try russet potato, do like fingerling potatoes, sweet potatoes. But you know what? The days just got, And here's the other thing. It smells. When you fry oil in the house, whether you're making, and Jews like to fry a lot of things, falafel, potato latkes. The house tends to, the house smells. I remember my father, which we'll get to in a second. I remember my father used to make falafel all the time. My mom used to hate it because she would open up all the windows in the house because it would smell. And in the winter, it was brutal, especially in New York because it's cold. But we would open up the house, we'd make falafel, and it was delicious. Speaking of my father. He is coming on the show tonight. He is the very first guest of the Zach Dresler Show.
This is going to be great.
This is going to be interesting. I love my father. My father is, I would say, my best friend. I don't know how other people feel about their dads. I know some people don't have very good relationships with their father. I do. I love my dad. I mean, obviously, we bicker, we fight. But he's going to come on. We're going to talk, all good things. We're going to talk about Festivus. He is from the Holy Land. He is from Israel. He was born there. He is Jewish. Growing up, I think they were Orthodox. I mean, most of his family is Orthodox, or at least kosher. And I think he gave that up when he moved from Israel to Brooklyn, and especially when he had us. I remember when I was like, 9, 10 years old, we went to one of my cousin's bar mitzvahs, and that was an ultra-Orthodox wedding. And I mean, ultra-Orthodox, it was men on one side, women on the... at a wedding. We went to bar mitzvahs and weddings, but the wedding, it was men on one side, women on the other side.
Really?
And you couldn't see each other. That's how religious it was. And it was kosher food, which isn't too bad. But when you're a kid and you're not raised on kosher, you don't understand food, taste and everything, it tastes like crap.
Yeah, you're used to Doritos.
Yeah, there's no flavor to it. And so I remember we were sitting there I was sitting there at the table, and my cousins come to me, "Aren't you going to eat your food?" And I literally looked them in the eye. I was like, "No, me and my dad going to get Burger King after this." And they were like, because...
Blasphemy.
Yeah, kosher Jews don't eat Burger King. But My father's coming on, the wonderful, the talented, the man who made me, Eli Dresler.
Eli,
big, as many as my friends call him Big E, and nobody ever calls him Mr. Dresler. So Indy, don't call him Mr. Dresler tonight when you talk to him. You can call him Eli, Big
Senor Dresler.
You can call him Senor Dresler. I don't think anybody ever called him that, but you can call him that.
Dope.
Big Papa E. I mean, he's got a bunch of nicknames. My dad emulates coolness, like to a level that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach. When I was in high school, my friends would come over and ask, "Hey, where's your dad?" Even though they were coming to hang out with me, they would want to hang out with my dad more. Or when my dad would pick us up, he would always play cool music. I mean, even the girl that took my virginity in high school, she asked me if she could take my dad to prom. I mean, that's how cool he is. I mean, they love him. People love E. But we're going to talk about the holidays. We're going to talk about Festivus. My dad's a huge Seinfeld guy, so we're going to talk about Festivus.
Nice.
And,
for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. And, we're going to talk about, we got a lot of problems with people. We're going to air out our grievances. How you doing, man?
I love it. No, I'm doing good. I'm glad we're doing the show. It brings us a peak to my week, as they say.
Yeah. I mean, we still there's times where we were supposed to do this every Wednesday. It's now Friday. You're not going to know anyway when you're watching this because it's going to come up sometime next week. But I hope everyone's having a good holiday season considering everything that's going on. Especially in LA, we are now the epicenter of the coronavirus.
Yeah, 1 in 3 people, y'all.
Is it 1 in 3 people?
Yeah.
Jesus. And just in case I go over this every single show. Indy and I are extra socially distanced out. He is in another room. We can see each other through a door. I wore a mask coming in. We sanitize. We're good.
We're like 12 to 15 feet away, I'd say. Yeah. So we're safe. We're doing it, and everything was sanitized prior to his arrival, and we all should be we should be fine. Yeah, we should be. Yeah, everything's gonna be fine. The vaccine started going out. That's pretty great. One of my friends who's a doctor on the front lines, he got vaccinated today by Pfizer. Shout out to him. I'm not going to shout his name out because he's a private man, but I'm happy that, he feels safe. His family feels safe. He took the Pfizer vaccine. You taking the vaccine through the eyeball?
I need some vaccine. He said that it pinched. Like, I don't know if people gotten a flu shot. When you get a flu shot, your arm hurts for a couple of days. He said it didn't hurt as bad. He didn't have any side effects that were mentioned that they might have. So, I mean, it's good. Things are coming. It's happening. It's going to take a while. I was talking to friends today. I have friends that have weddings in June and July. My brother's getting married next October. Hopefully by then, the majority of the American public will have been vaccinated. I know people probably won't because there's a lot of anti-vaxxers out there, which is kind of crazy. The anti-vaxxers usually mix with the anti-maskers, and that's it's just so weird, man.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our fitness update here. So,
you've been looking slimmer, I gotta say.
I appreciate that. I don't know why. I honestly, I just started. I know I talked last podcast about doing that, or excuse me, I know I talked about last show about doing 30-day challenges. So on Wednesday, about 2 days ago, I started my 30-day 100 per day push-up challenge. And my man boobs are very, very sore. Because I'm trying to also get back into my regiment of working out. Like I've, people who know me for the past 3 years or pretty much all my life, or if you're not tuning in, I'm on an everlasting, lifelong fitness journey. I not a yo-yo diet, but there's moments
you yo-yo diet.
Do I? You think I yo-yo diet?
No, I'm not saying you do, but you
what, I go from fat to thin, thin to fat?
No, it's not fat to thin, thin to fat. It's everybody fluctuates.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's a fluctuation. I'm not saying you do that. You fluctuate.
No, I do fluctuate, and there's times where I'm very regimented in terms of what I'm eating and my workout schedule. Like when I'm on it, I mean, I'm on it. I'm 6 days a week in the gym, and I'm watching my calories, watching the carbs I'm eating, that whole thing. And there's times, especially around the holidays, I just don't give a crap. I'm just going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to enjoy the holidays. And I think that's what people forget to do, is that, like, I think people think that, like, they have to be this way. And yes, being healthy is a life change. But there's things in life that you want to enjoy. And sometimes those things that you want to enjoy aren't always the healthiest things. And, in a life change, it's all about balance. It's very about balancing, who's the actor that said it? It was in Training Day. You got to balance your smiles and cries. It's all about the smiles and cries. And that's what it is with dieting. But I've started doing this routine. I've been working out, and I've never done these 30-day challenges on top of working out, like squat challenges, burpee challenges, push-up challenges. I've never done these before.
Jake Hoyt.
What's that?
It was Jake Hoyt.
Jake Hoyt. Thank you. Yes. But who was the actor? It was who was the actor that played Hoyt? Famous guy too. It wasn't like his first. It wasn't his first. He was right first there. Rodeo here. I mean, there's Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, of course.
I knew it was someone big. Got to control your
big,
smiles
but kind of forgettable a little bit.
He's never been to me like he was a lead in this, but he was a second lead. Denzel was the lead to me.
Oh, of course. When you think of Training Day, you think it's Denzel. Of course. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you think a lot of guys in Training Day that are in. I mean, you got Dr. Dre that's in there. There's a lot of good actors that are in there. And then what's her name too? Ava Mendes.
Yes.
I don't know if that was one of her first roles, but I think it was one of her early roles. Was Training Day. She played Denzel Washington's sugar mom, not sugar mom, but baby mama.
Yeah.
But back on this, as my stomach was hanging out from the bottom of my shirt there, a little sneak peek for you guys. This journey is never ending, but I've never done something where I'm doing a challenge on top of working out. And so I started doing my push-up challenge a couple of days ago, and then at the same time doing my workouts, at home. And when I did chest and triceps the other day, I could barely do any chest workouts. It is still sore. It's still like it hurts to touch. My cat jumped on me the day when I was sleeping, and it was like a typewriter on their chest, and it just hurt so much. But like I said, the hardest thing is it's not doing the push-ups throughout the day. That's easy. I can do like 10 every other hour, and I get through it. It's the other workouts I'm doing on top of this. It makes me super, super, super sore. So, I mean, have you done it? I know you were thinking about doing it with me. Have you given it a shot? I didn't let you know. That's my fault. But
yeah, I could have reached out. I could have taken initiative, which I didn't do.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
Yeah, I think we both there was a lack of communication.
That's fine.
Yeah,
listen, again, you're going on vacation this week from work, bud. So I don't expect
2 weeks.
I don't expect you to do much other than just hang out with your girl, watch some great TV, indulge in some
Christmas,
libations,
some New Year's,
Christmas,
some
New Year's. Are you gonna go anywhere for Christmas? I know you're from the California state.
I grew up in San Diego. My dad lives down there, so we're gonna get some rapid tests. Me and my girlfriend, and it's just gonna be me, my dad, my girlfriend. So a threesome Christmas as they have them here in San Diego.
Threesome Christmas. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It should be fun though. It's gonna be fun though.
Yeah. Get away for a little while.
We got a Christmas tree finally.
Oh.
A little tiny one, like a little Charlie Brown Christmas tree, because we have a cat, and we put up lights around our house before we got the tree, like inside. And the cat has already chewed through 2 light bulbs. So we got a tiny tree to put it on a shelf, so this way she wouldn't mess with it. Cats, man, they're terrors.
Jeez.
They're terrors. But I think we're gonna get my dad on right here. I think we should get my dad on, or do we want to do like sports and gaming first, or what's on TV, or should we just go into talking to my dad?
Let's talk to your dad. I mean, he's going to be the cream of the crop here. For this podcast.
It's gonna be fun. We'll go over some silly news with my father. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Festivus and who's he upset about? Is it family members? I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of news, like politicians. My dad's he hates Trump, and he hates most of the GOP. So the people he might have problems with that he wants to hear about might be these people. I don't think we'll probably get into it. I mean, I'm gonna poke and prod and see if I can, see if he can crap on some of the family members, but I doubt he will. My father is very, very caring man.
Yeah, you gave the disclaimer.
All right, let's bring him on.
Let's do it.
All right, so let me send them. Okay. Let me join the room first, right? Yeah. What if he's like there, ready to go? I wouldn't be surprised if my dad's ready.
At any time, so you can just you can like be on there for a second and then go, hey, we're gonna start in a second.
Okay. Let me text him.
Or we can just go right into it if he's not there. Or you can like curate it for something that you would know he would go off the best. Like if he wouldn't do much with the cannibal sandwich or Tom Cruise, but he would do better with the Mexico Taken thing.
Yeah.
Like just go with what he would like, like hook on first and have a really cool opinion on, kind of a thing.
I think he's popping on.
Okay.
You got to unmute yourself, Pop, and show your face.
Is your volume up too on that?
Maybe it's not. No, it's up.
Okay.
Volume is up. There he is. I can't hear you. Can I hear?
Is the Bluetooth connected?
Hold on, Bob. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want that.
How's that?
Ah, there you go.
There you go.
I can hear you now. All right. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. We'll just get into it a little bit here, just in terms of like, how are you? Just the pleasantries, how much I love you. We'll talk about Hanukkah.
You love me?
I mean, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how this
Shaka
goes.
Khan. Good.
Yeah, we'll talk about Shaka Khan. Okay. Well, and we're just going to talk some news headlines and obviously talk about Festivus, and who this year you have gripes with and airing of the grievances.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Just tell me when we're starting and start the questions.
All right. Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, my very first guest on this show, for many shows to come, but the very first guest I'm going to have is my dad, Eli Dresler. Welcome to the show, Pop.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege.
I'm glad
to finally see.
Yeah.
To finally see the college education come to full fruition.
Well, you didn't pay for that college education. I mean, it was all loans.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So, but it's coming through. Listen, I'm that American university education has finally come through. But thank you for joining me, and I'm glad that you didn't turn on any lights, so this way people can just see like a nice shadowy figure there with the reflection.
Oh, I didn't even know that I'm actually on the video. Should I turn on the lights?
If you can, that'd be great. We can, you can give people the tour of the house while we're doing this. It would just be nice.
Oh, sure.
People want to see where I came from. I mean, this is my dad.
Well, I would have gotten dressed up my best clothing.
No, we don't
certainly...
need that. That's not. Listen, I'm wearing a green T-shirt, and no one can see my pants. I'm wearing just like Nike sweatpants.
You're not wearing pants.
Well, how's this? You see that?
Yeah, I see you. There you go. Look how beautiful this man is, everybody. This is my father.
Look at that good-looking man.
The man who sprung me from his seed, his firstborn, his favorite. At least that's what he tells me.
Actually, you were my favorite.
I
mean, you are my favorite.
Who's the favorite now? Emmett? Emmett's probably the favorite.
Emmett, for sure, yeah.
That's because he's there. He's there in Jersey. He didn't run away for like me and Seth.
Well, he's here. He, helps out. He doesn't whine.
I never whine. Let's get that. Like, you say I whine. I don't really whine. I don't think I whine. Yeah, see here. Look, we're finding.
I don't know. Your mother and I used to call you the original whiner from SNL.
A dated reference that no one's going to understand on this show.
I am sorry.
That was the original whiner was with who? Martin Short?
No. What's her name? Name some of the actresses that were on SNL.
Actresses?
Gilda Radner.
Oh, Gilda Radner. Martin Short, Eddie Murphy.
No.
Joe Piscopo.
Jane Curtin was the whiner. That's it.
Jane Curtin. Okay. Fantastic.
Right. And her husband, Mr. Whiner. And I forget who that was.
But I'm part of that family, apparently.
Yes, you are. You were the first whiner born.
I was the only whiner, according to you. Seth didn't want. Seth doesn't.
We were very proud of you. That's why we didn't have kids 7 years after you were born.
It's true. I actually had to sit you guys down when I was 6 years old and ask you guys to make me a play date. I remember this conversation because you always bring it up.
I remember that. We were in Brooklyn, in Ditmas Park.
And what did I say to you?
You sat me and Mom down, and you said, I think I need a brother. And we started laughing, and you start to cry. He goes, why are you laughing at me? So and then you said, well, I need a play date. You're no fun.
I mean, Mom was fun. You were always busy. You were a man of the house.
I was busy.
You were.
I was always traveling.
You were. But
yes, I was.
How was your Hanukkah?
Hanukkah was great. Amy and I celebrated the 8 days of Hanukkah being all alone.
Was it nice?
But it was lovely. Amy put on some beautiful lights around the greenhouse in colors of blue and white. So it was very festive.
Very nice.
Right. It was better than Festivus.
Well, we'll get to Festivus in a second. Did you guys make potato latkes?
I did not make potato latkes. I made, instead of brisket, I made beef bourguignon the other day.
Yeah, you were telling me. Amy was telling me that. You made beef bourguignon when she asked for, what was she asked for originally? She didn't want beef bourguignon. She asked for something else.
She wanted some chicken cutlet. Oh, veal Milanese. That's it.
There she is. Amy's there. Hi, Amy.
Yeah, Amy's here. Hi, Amy.
So you didn't make any potato latkes? I didn't make any potato latkes either.
I didn't make any potato latkes because if I make at least 5 pounds, and both Amy and I can't have that. I don't know how to make anything less than 5 pounds of potato latkes.
I don't think you know how to make anything less than 5 pounds of anything. When we come home,
that's correct.
It's like you go to the slaughterhouse and you get like all the meats possible, and we just make tons of meats.
Well, that's because of you guys, right? Because you guys are big eaters, So I used to cook a lot, and then, once Amy and I were just the two of us, I can't make 30 pounds worth of meat and 5 pounds worth of potato latkes. It would be 300 pounds.
Sounds heavenly, though.
And no one is what do you call it? No one's around except for Emmett to eat all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, but
and now that he's becoming a vegan.
No. He's not becoming a vegan. First of all, his fiance is a vegan. He just eats vegan things. He loves meat. He tells me all the time. He's like, "Oh, I snuck this in, and Dad made me this, and it's fantastic. I had lamb. I had chicken. It was delicious. Don't tell Kate."
No, she knows because she texted me one time and she said, "Did you make him lamb?" And I said, "Why?" She goes, "He smells like a lamb."
How do you feel about having a vegan coming into our family? So my brother's getting married next year to this lovely woman, Kate. And the only thing we knock her on is that she's a vegan. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. It's not a problem for me at the moment, right? Because Emmett's still there. But I'm worried about it. I'm concerned, not worried. I'm concerned that once they're married and have children, she'll have the influence on the kids not to have any meat. So I won't make ribs, and I won't make brisket, and I won't make,
No, you make a big slab of tofu chicken that you can, smoke for 16 hours. A little bit of seitan.
I've experimented with I experimented a couple of times with making smoked tofu for a burger. It didn't go too well.
Okay. Yeah.
She liked it, but no one else liked it.
I mean, you make pretty good portobello mushrooms. I've had those before, which I know is she likes.
Right.
Those.
She likes that.
Yeah.
Right. She does like it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the vegan thing. When I make fun of her. I hope she doesn't get offended when I make fun of her about that stuff. But
I don't think she gets offended at anything. She loves the family, so she'll take it. But yeah, I don't know about that either. I remember when Emmett brought it over the first time at the house, and she said she's vegan. And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, can I make you,
make you lamb?
No, she doesn't. She can't eat cheese.
Right, because she's vegan.
So that's right. Well, I didn't realize that. So,
is their wedding going to be vegan?
They're looking at it. I told you. I think they have. They've looked at this big barbecue place in New Jersey.
Right.
This hall, and they're going to make the brisket and everything else, and then they're going to give her a couple of vegan dishes. But I think her brother and her family, someone in her family said, it's your wedding too. It should be all vegan. So
her brother said that.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't met
the guy that has that. I
haven't met that side of the family, but I'm already not liking this.
Yeah, well, he's actually a good guy. If you've seen him, he's on TV. He was on the Food Channel. Chopped, yeah. Right. And he won twice, first place.
He won I didn't know he was on twice.
Twice, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think the first time was 50,000 and the second time was 100,000.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So his restaurant.
Is he vegan too, though?
No, he's not. And his restaurant, the Divine Bar, is phenomenal. I mean, he makes a lot of Korean type food and, little plates. Very unusual. And delicious.
Wow. Okay. Wow. But an all vegan wedding? I guess I'm just gonna have to eat a lot beforehand.
It's not. If they get married in Pearl River with the smokehouses, and they still have vegan food, you and I will go across the street. There's another barbecue place. We'll order the food.
Just bring it back.
Come back in.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Well, the other holiday that people sometimes recognize, we recognize it because we're huge Seinfeld fans, is Festivus.
Love that holiday.
Before we get into the airing of the grievances and we talk about Festivus, I want to talk to you about Seinfeld because you and I love Seinfeld.
You and I live Seinfeld.
We live Seinfeld. It's true. We live Seinfeld. Indy loves Seinfeld.
I do too.
So Indy's my producer. You can't see him right now unless I'll turn the computer around. You can see him.
I'm way over here.
He's way over here, so we're distance. You can see him, see?
Hello.
There he is. Hey.
I can hear you, but you probably can't hear me.
You froze.
No, there I am. How's that? So, with Seinfeld, but here's the thing I find interesting, Dad, with Seinfeld, is that we love it, but you don't like Curb Your Enthusiasm. In fact, you hate Curb Your Enthusiasm because you don't like Larry David.
I do. Because he's such a whiner. I mean,
but you love me as a whiner. But the guy that created our ultimate favorite show, you hate. I mean, he made the show. It's him. He is George.
I understand that, but George didn't whine. He was
what
actually.
What are you talking about?
No. He didn't whine in that sense. He had grievances in his life. He had issues. When I watched a couple of times Curb Your Enthusiasm, he was like this old Jewish guy. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you. Go back to Seinfeld. It's fine with me. But I guess he's pretty successful because everyone loves that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. I mean, I did you ever watch the season? Because again, I know you haven't watched a lot of the show, but the season where they were doing like a reunion with Seinfeld and they brought the whole cast back and George and Elaine, they did a whole like season about it. This like reunion episode. I figured you were like that because Kramer was there. The whole mishpucha.
But it was very good. I like that.
But everything else, you didn't watch the last season, which I thought was pretty good. You didn't watch any of it.
The last season, no.
Okay. What are you watching right now? Quickly.
I am watching, actually, the Food Channel.
No, not currently. Not like in this moment. But what shows, what series are you watching?
No series on regular TV. We've been watching a lot of movies on Netflix, on Apple TV. A lot of Indian, Pakistani movies.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I've been watching a lot of also the Israeli movies that were on the show when Netflix and Prime.
Now, do you watch? You speak Hebrew. You're from Israel. Do you watch them with subtitles? You watch in the actual native language, or do you how do you watch these? Are they speaking English? What's going on?
In native language? The subtitles are for Amy, but I have to tell you that I haven't. I've left Israel many years ago, but the first couple of episodes, like Fauda, for example, was a little difficult for me because the words were very.
They're speaking fast.
First of all, they spoke very quickly, right, and also the vocabulary was a lot better than when I left Israel. But within about 2-3 episodes, my accent came back.
Hello, Mashlomcha.
Exactly. I turn around to Amy. I go, Amy, you want to go to bed now? Let's go back to the country. We'll go back to bed. We'll move from Tufin, and then we go, okay.
My dad was the Zohan at one point.
I love that show. I love that movie. That's a great movie.
Fantastic. But let's go back to Festivus. The airing of the grievances. Who do you get beef with this year? Who do you want to? Who do you have problems with? Anybody personally? Me? Anybody in the family? Or?
Well, let's start off from the top.
Okay, let's go to the top.
And the last 4 years, okay, I had my grievances is what I call the deplorable pussy grabbing scum, aka the motherfucker, aka Trump.
This is obviously not a family show, everybody.
So that's the biggest grievance, and now that this nightmare is almost over, I won't have anyone to pick on. So, and going down from there, I really don't have anybody else I can pick on.
Mitch McConnell.
Besides, Mitch McConnell. I mean, he is who he is. He'll be out of here soon. He'll be dead, and it's over.
Jeez, it's true though. But nobody in the family, not me. Yeah.
I don't have any grievances. Well, my grievances with you ended a while back.
We had grievances?
I think it was about 2 years ago.
Oh, we had grievances 2 years ago. I didn't realize. Okay.
Until 2 years ago. Then it was my issues. I let that go.
What was the issues? Now I want to talk about this. What were the issues?
Sure, absolutely. What do you mean? What are the issues? Your personal success, and
it's not very good, huh?
No, I mean, you had some issues with your personal success. All self-induced.
My anxiety.
I think so. You know about your anxiety. I have the same anxiety. You and I have the same anxiety.
But here's the difference in you. You keep it under lock. Like, you are cool as a cucumber. You're cool as the other side of the pillow. Like when we were started the start of the show, I was telling Indy how much like you exude smoothness and coolness. Like, you were way cooler than me. When you were growing up, I feel like the only reason why I had friends was because of you, because of how cool you were. People came over.
Actually, you came to me one day and you said, "I really don't like you, Dad." And I said, "What's the matter?" He goes, "My friends think you're cooler than I am."
And they do. They still do. Do you remember?
I don't know about that.
I do.
Now Indy does too. So now I got my producer who thinks he's, listen, you are the best dad. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I mean, I remember when you dropped me off my first high school party, and then you were letting me out of the car. You grabbed me and you said, "Listen, I got one favor. Okay, I got one thing to ask of you." And I go, "Okay, what is it?" You're like, "If you're going to smoke weed. Don't smoke cigarettes, because at least you'll get something from it.
Right.
Do you still smoke weed?
Yeah.
No.
And what?
Do you still smoke weed?
I don't smoke weed. I used to sell a lot of weed. That's how I paid for your mother's and my wedding.
By selling weed?
Actually, more than weed. I used to sell weed and pills and stuff.
I feel like
Quaaludes, especially.
I feel like everyone in their teens and early 20s did that. I mean, I did that in college. I used to sell my Ritalin.
No. I made a lot of money.
No, I know. In fact, if you paid for a wedding, you were at least making 20, 30 grand.
So you know the story. I don't know if you know the story when I proposed to Mom, and then your grandparents met for the first time. Mom's parents and my parents, and they met. And my mother came over and he goes, "I have so many. How many people are you giving me so I can invite to the wedding?" And Sylvia, your grandmother, said 40. And my mother was insulted. I have like 100 couples that I know, etc. And there was a big fight. Mom comes upstairs at her parents' house because I was in the kitchen, and she starts crying and she says to me, "We're never going to get married." I said, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Your parents are arguing about money." I said, I knew this was going to happen. I walked downstairs. I grabbed my mother. I grabbed Sylvia. I said, "Listen, Marilyn and I are going to pay for the wedding. We'll send you an invitation. If you come, you come. If you don't come, okay."
Now, was there very, very diplomatic way of
the money, and that was the money. I had like 80, 90 grand in the bank.
Wow. I mean, I don't even have 80, 90 grand in my bank right now, and we're way older than that.
Right.
But was there also turmoil between the grandparents because Mom's grandparents were from England and Safta and Saba were from Israel, and the Brits
for sure
owning the land of Israel and everything?
Yeah, well, I don't think that was the issue because, Grandma Sylvia was Jewish, so that's not the issue. Grandma Sylvia was British, so she always had this formality with her. And Safta was, an Arab Jew who was just down and dirty. She fought in the Independence War in Israel. Mm-hmm. So for her, when she heard the British accent, she wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah.
But, and she was very, Safta, she was a very domineering woman.
Yeah.
And Grandma Sylvia, at that time had the beginning of not Parkinson's. I forget.
Dementia? Was it just dementia?
What does Wendy Leeds have?
Multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis. I was going to say mononucleosis, but that's not what she has. She has multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, she had MS. So, she was also, deteriorating rather quickly.
Yeah.
And she didn't like Safta because Marilyn gravitated to my mother, because my mother was gregarious and also wasn't sickly. So,
well, I mean,
I'm sure she was jealous. But between your grandfather Henry and your Saba, they were bosom buddies.
Well, Barry, I feel like it was very easy to get along with. If you could just talk to Barry,
he was an easier guy to get along with, right? And so was Henry.
Yeah, absolutely. What I've always, what I always find interesting about talking about, history of the family and everything, it's not just with you, but like with other family relatives. Like when I talked to Jeff Peleg, he speaks about Safta as, like you said, this domineering woman, this force of nature, and how she fought in the Independence War, but he calls her the original terrorist when she was in Israel, because she used to sneak weapons across checkpoints that the Brits had, and all
she did with his father.
Oh, really? With Jeffrey's father?
Yeah,
I did not.
Reuben.
I did not see. I didn't know that. He never told me that.
She followed in the footsteps of my grandfather, who was from Baghdad, originally born in Mumbai. He used to smuggle not only weapons from from Asian countries through Iran and through Baghdad and through Jordan, Egypt to get into Israel. But he used to smuggle weapons.
Man, this is crazy. I feel like I should write a series.
He used to smuggle Jews who wanted to escape Tehran and wanted to escape Baghdad because of a lot of persecution on the Sephardic side.
Yeah, well, Saba was also a refugee, so to speak, from Poland. He fled.
Saba was a refugee, right?
To Israel.
Right.
To Israel.
He fled Poland, Germany, escaped to Russia, lived there for a couple of years, and then came down to Italy, from Italy to Greece to Crete, and from Crete he hopped on the ship. Him and his younger brother and younger sister hopped on the ship to Israel and got smuggled in.
It's crazy.
This is during the British, who at that time occupied Palestine, the British mandate.
Got you. Yeah. Brits owned a lot of land over there. Well,
the expression for the British back in the old days is the sun never sets on the British Empire. So if you go all the way around the world, besides India, South Africa, Indonesia, all that.
Argentina, all that area. Yeah. Well,
correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
I never heard that. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad we talked quickly about Festivus. I was hoping you had some more griefs, some more beef with people, but it's fine.
No, I just. I might have had more grievances, but those days are over. Those days are. I mean, what's to be gained in being angry, right?
That's true. I don't know. Sometimes it feels
besides
good.
Comedy,
but besides comedy,
yeah.
Words of wisdom.
I understand that. It's. I don't know. Maybe I'm tired of being angry because the past 4 years, because of politics and because of what's been happening to our country, and I take it personally because I'm an immigrant. Mm-hmm. You're the first generation American in our family, right?
Yep.
So for me and for Mom, we're both immigrants. I take pride in this country. I love this country. For me, it's amazing, and to see this deplorable pussy grabbing scum and his supporters, right? Give me all these stupid excuses. Well, he's not a politician. I know he's a deplorable pussy grabbing scum. What does that mean? He goes, is that what you want? Is that what you want running the government? He's also a liar. He's also misogynistic. Whatever you want to call him. He's never said anything truthful, and that's his. But he is a master in advertising.
That's true.
He's a master in advertising.
We've talked about this before. I know we're going on a different trajectory here, but we've talked about this before because I've said to him, like, he's such a stupid man. And you're like, no, he's not. He's actually quite brilliant. I mean, to get to where he is, to do the things that he's done, he's a masterful puppet. He's manipulated people. He's gotten to where he's gotten because he's smart. He can bullshit with the best of them and he can fool the rest of them. He knows his target audience.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing. We as people, and forget about whether it's Republicans or Democrats. There were things that happened. It was like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Right. When Obama was elected the first time, I was elated, and the country was elated.
I remember that. I remember when it was 2008 and we were in New York City and we were driving through New York City because you were dropping me off in my apartment and people in Union Square were celebrating in the streets. They were literally jumping on our car and we were so happy about it.
Remember, it was over the top. And that for me lasted for 4 years. I was disappointed his second term, Obama's second term, because I was hoping there will be significant change, to our country. And the second term didn't happen to be a significant change, particularly immigrants, minorities, etc. You know me, I'm a big socialist.
I know.
And that didn't happen. And Obama sort of wrapped himself around capitalism, which is fine up to a point, but not the second term. And the second term was really, he favored the banks, he bailed out banks, and the rich got richer, and that's why I was upset the second term, and I was glad Obama was out. But when Obama lost, when Hillary came aboard and ran for president, you can see all the racists. No one liked Hillary way back when, and I happen to like her because she was a good, she might not be the most ethical person, but she really had a lot of good things in her head, and she did a lot of good things when she was first lady, when she was first lady of Governor Clinton in Arkansas,
and Secretary of State and everything.
Right, but that's later on, and Secretary of State and all that. But once Trump was the nominee for the GOP during the election, for the nomination, you can see the racists. All the racists came out.
Yeah,
everyone was a racist. It's like I have discussions the last 4 years about people, who say, Black lives don't matter. What about all lives matter? I said, listen, every group has their affiliation. The Jews have the JDL, blah blah blah, this and that. I said, Black lives matter for African Americans, and this is someone that they can relate to. I said, so why are you telling them they shouldn't be they shouldn't be heard? It's like the Italian American League, when they fight about Columbus Day and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No one says, oh, you stupid guineas, that kind of stuff. So it's silly. It's silly. Racism is. I believe everyone is racist. That's it. That's the rule.
Everyone has a little racism in it. 100%. I completely agree.
But everyone, for me, I live by the rule. Everyone is racist. There's always exception to the rule, right? So I try to hang out with people and talk with people, and I don't mind people who are racist, as long as they give me reasons why they're racist, and then I can talk them into understanding what they mean by. And it's not really racism; it's called ignorance.
Yeah.
And when people are ignorant, they become racists.
And uneducated, which goes with ignorance.
Right. Amy. I've known friends from Amy's side who are religious, Orthodox Jews, smart people, doctors, lawyers, and they, when I talk to them when Obama was president. And one woman says to me, I despise Obama. I should die. And then we have this conversation. He goes, he's against Israel. Yeah. And just the year before it was the end of his term in the 8th year, he signed a $10 billion loan, $10 billion to Israel that will be forgiven. Okay, the following year. And when I mentioned that to this Orthodox group of people, they go, I don't believe it. I said, okay, Google it. They Google it, and sure enough. And even after they read it in several different articles, they said, well, he was forced to do it. They have to do it. He wasn't running again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, facts and that stuff doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't, none of that matters.
Well, and that's the brilliance of what Donald Trump had done. He kept on throwing. He always has just a little bit of facts. Like maybe 1%. But the other 99% doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So, and that's his morning. He's made everything. You watch it on TV. You see all these Trump supporters. They spew the same bullshit. Obama is a Muslim. It wasn't born in this country, blah, 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 blah. And that just perpetuated, to where we are today, where, Biden stole the votes and the votes are not really true. And they brought in boxes, and all of a sudden all these write-in votes came in from nowhere. And he's 8 million or 9 million people voted more for Biden than for Trump. And how can that be? It's got to be fake.
Of course.
It's got to be full.
It doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for
going back to Festivus. Yeah, that's my grievances.
Perfect. That was a great way to wrap that little segment up. I want to talk some just personal stuff with you. I mean, I was going to go into news stuff, but I figured this is a good conversation we're having. You're an architect. You're a contractor. You've designed some fantastic work in your life.
I'm not a contractor. I'm a developer.
Developer. My bad. I apologize. What would you say is your most biggest hit or proudest building you've constructed, you've designed? What doesn't have to be famous. What are you most proud of? And if you have a couple, let me know. I'm curious. We don't really talk about, the buildings that you build. We talk about it like, hey, check this out. But like, in your scope of work, in your scope of, in your working throughout life, what is your most proudest building or buildings that you've done?
Well, I have several. And I was part of a team in terms of the design and able to do the drawings for the constructability of these buildings. And the first one that comes to mind is when I worked with IMPay, and I was in charge of designing the Louvre, not the entire Louvre, just the entrance to the Louvre, which is the pyramid. And I worked on that for 2 years. Designing with IMPay, and that's actually my greatest accomplishment because he had the concept, but I took that concept that was in the back of a napkin, as they say, and made it into design into a building and all the details that a contractor or a big firm can actually build it.
Right.
The glass and the space frame. And the second was similar, actually two others, but the second one was the Bank of China in Hong Kong, which is the 102-story building. And I designed that. I was in charge of putting the team together and putting the construction documents together.
With IMPay.
And that's really with IMPay.
Oh my God.
And then the last
you're blowing Indy's mind right now.
You're blowing my mind, Mr. Dresler.
And the last three was a joint venture design production between Mom and I, producing you, Seth, and Emmett.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I really thought you were going to go with the National Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that you helped with IMPay.
That was a great project. It wasn't my best. It wasn't a great design. It just has a lot of marketing. It has a lot of marketing because it's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and it's really great.
Yeah.
The other one was the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but those buildings weren't my favorites. My favorite was the Louvre and Bank of China in Hong Kong. I told you, I also did the other. I did the other Bank of China in Beijing.
Yeah.
Remember that one I told you about? So, yeah. And that was actually more of a for me. Was not the design as much it was the experience going back and forth to China. You remember I used to come home and go back and forth on the to watch your soccer games and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really big only because of the culture that happened in China because of the of that building, and China was open up to more Western architecture and Western architects and design. Western living.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll let you go here in a minute, but I just want to, since we're talking about architecture and, building and everything, New York, currently right now, it's had a rough year in terms of the coronavirus, businesses are closing, but what I love about being your son is that when we took trips growing up as a kid, we didn't take trips to go to the beach or go to some exotic island. We took trips based on buildings, locale, and going to see these structures. Right. Like I remember when we came to LA, we didn't really go to Santa Monica Beach. We went to the Bradley Building. We went and saw the greenhouse. What do you see in the future in terms of Manhattan, like how it's being built? And I mean, it's ever changing. It's an ever changing, island. But in terms of what you're seeing now, there's a lot of businesses that are closing up, buildings that are closing up because of, everything's just, on lockdown right now. Where do you see in terms of architecture? How do you see like things changing? I feel like the only original part of Manhattan in terms of building structure that is left is like the East Village, Lower East Side, Greenwich, like anything below 20th Street and below. I feel like everything above that is just been built. It's just commercial buildings now. It's all like these, like Levittown high rises, so to speak.
Well, it actually, yours is a two-part question. The COVID issue and the lockdown, that just, my personal opinion, New York is New York, and this is going to be just a temporary thing. People, have left New York, and the people that have left New York are the ones who could afford it and move to Long Island or even come to New Jersey, to like Montclair or Tenafly or close to or Cresskill. Those houses are being sold and have been sold, and it reaches. It reaches, a house that was, $800,000 is now going for $1.6 million,
right.
$2 million, and they're closing relatively quickly. But New York itself, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island. Staten Island's a separate issue, but Manhattan will always be Manhattan. Williamsburg will always be Williamsburg. What's happening? So the COVID is shut down the city. I think once the vaccine becomes more normal, and you'll see within a year and a half, 2 years, things are coming back. Will be coming back. People now are taking advantage of cheaper rent, not cheap rent, cheaper, than what it was a year ago.
Absolutely. But more than it was a decade ago, I'm sure.
But don't forget. But don't forget. The prices were high last year, so they went down. So the average rent came down about 20%. 20% is nothing. A one bedroom for $4,000. What's 20%? 20% of $4,000, is nothing. Right. So yes, there are a lot of vacancies, and that will change for the next couple of years. Where the architecture is a little bit different, and because of New York and the way it's handled, there's not enough room, enough space, and to sort of gather or compile a large piece of property. So there's smaller properties, and you can see the last 5 or 7 years, these sliver buildings that are going up 80 stories, 90 stories, 100 stories, with all these mega apartments selling for $20 million, $30 million, $40 million. And that's the elitist that's been happening, elitism that's been happening in Manhattan.
I feel like it was happening when I was living there a decade ago.
Not as flamboyant as it is now. Now you're getting people to come in, actually major architects, like Rudolph and Liebeskind, etc. They're designing, all these buildings that are crazy in fantastic architecture, but 90, 80 stories up in the air. Can you imagine living in a penthouse 80, 90, 110 stories up?
I see these things. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you're paying $40, $50, $60 million. There was one resale just now of this beautiful building on Fifth Avenue for $110 million. It's like an obscene number.
Yeah.
So you can see, so those buildings are coming up just north of 32nd Street, going east and west. Chelsea, the High Line area, those are beautiful architecture as well, but they're only 10 stories high. The Lower East Side, that will change eventually.
I know.
But the zoning board is trying to keep that area low in density.
Yeah, I love the Lower East Side. To me, it's. Yeah. I mean, just the streets.
Well, you're like me. You love the ethnicity.
Yeah.
There's so much different flavors mixed in with the hipsters and all that stuff. So
I don't like the hipsters, but
that's very cool. That's very cool. The reality is, the city, the architecture part of the city, is going through, these transformations in mega buildings. It's no longer a couple of buildings here, a couple of buildings there. It's mega buildings.
Yeah.
You look at on the west side where the Javits Center is, and over the railroad tracks, they're building like 20,000 apartments over the railroad tracks. And you got to see it. It has changed since you left. The High Line now goes all the way up to 34th Street.
I thought it goes to 42nd.
I said up to 34th Street, where the railroads are, and they're building a concrete pad over it and building these these huge buildings. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, interesting.
So
I mean, the same thing's happening here in LA. It's becoming Manhattan wood now. It's like these tall high rises, and who's moving in them because
But here's the difference in L.A. and New York. The L.A. architecture is not the star-studded architects that are designing New York skyline.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
There are about maybe 20 of them that you can spew off, who are amazing, and younger architects who are also amazing. Are just creating beautiful architecture and beautiful fabric to the city, and creating a whole new vernacular.
It's crazy. That's awesome.
It's amazing, and it's really exciting time. It's unfortunate what happened with COVID, but it's really an exciting time to be an architect, to be a young architect, or going to school architecture and seeing all this architecture. New architecture, new buildings.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Dad, I didn't realize we've been talking for like an hour. So 45 minutes at least.
I didn't know that.
But this is great.
Okay.
This is great. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to continue the show.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Sweetie.
I love you.
Hey, anytime. I love you too.
I love you,
Call
Amy.
me again.
Tell Amy say bye. Is she there?
She's already sleeping.
Oh, she's already fast asleep. All right. Go join her. I'll give you a call later.
All right, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye. Take care, DJ.
Indy.
That's it. Indy.
Like Indiana Jones.
Like Indiana Jones.
Take care.
Bye, Pop.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was a lot longer than I thought I was going to have my dad.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
That was
It took like a little minute to get into it. Like I feel like the unplanned stuff, as it always does, the organic things, the improv things always turn out better. But we were that was a 45-minute thing we just did.
I love how just like so effortlessly he just threw in like he designed the entrance to the Louvre.
Yeah, that's my dad.
I did the Hong Kong bank. And I'm like Googling this, and literally my head is
very
exploding.
Humble. He's very humble. He doesn't brag about it.
Incredible guy.
I remember when he went to Ohio, to Cleveland to open up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Ian Pei. I was like, this is amazing. I was bragging to all my friends. This is like when Green Day and Rage Against the Machine 94, 95 was like popping.
Yeah.
So he got all these cool shirts and stuff. I'm like, look at me, my dad, like building these things. And yeah, I mean, the dude's got stories for days. I should probably bring him back on. We'll bring him back on.
No,
again.
he is a fixture for the show. I gotta say, I don't know your family.
Yeah.
I don't even know your brother.
No, and he just moved out
I gotta say, I know everybody now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm part of the family.
Maybe it should be the Dresler show and just have him on. Just cut
Dresler
out,
show.
Slap out this Zach here and just put the Dresler.
I had no idea that your dad was an actual celebrity.
My dad.
He's like what Ted Mosby wanted to be.
Exactly. He is Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother. He is exactly that.
And I am the biggest fan of How I Met Your Mother. And that is Ted. It's literally Ted at the highest summit being Ted.
We didn't even get into the, like, you know, when he was talking about my grandparents and my mom's grandparents and my mom's parents, my other grandparents, you know, and this whole thing growing up. I mean, he didn't, and dealing drugs and making 80,000, paying for his own money. I mean, there's so many other stories in there that I know that I was going to ask. I mean, he, you know, from hearing from his, you know, his brother who's no longer around and other friends that, you know, I've met throughout the years, like, did your father ever tell you about the time he dated the acid queen from Brooklyn? And I go, no, I'd love to know more about this. You know, like, it's just, and like, I mean, when I was living in Manhattan, you know, for 10 years, and he would come and visit me and he'd pick me up and we'd go, you know, just drive to Brooklyn or come back into the city or come from Jersey to the city and he'd drop me off, whatever it may be. You know, I mean, he would tell me stories about, like, I remember this over here. Like, we would drive down St. Mark's Place, right? Famous street. A lot of, like, CBGB's is there. There's a lot of famous things that happen. They're no longer there, but it's a very, very old, famous street. And we would drive by and he goes, you know, I used to sell Quaaludes on that stoop. I used to come here and I was like, fuck, okay. And that's what I love about my dad. My dad, you know, growing up, he was like, listen, I don't expect you not to use drugs, you know, because I did. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you. I mean, he didn't want me to, you know. And
he's such an upstanding guy.
He is.
I gotta say, he's so three-dimensional. I would even say four-dimensional.
Four-dimensional. He's
interesting.
And that's why people, you know, people really love him. You know, people flock to him. People enjoy, you know, his time, like being with him, you know, and like my friends enjoy being with him. But we'll bring him back on the show.
Definitely.
This has been a long show. Should we even get into the other topics? Or
No.
Nope.
Yep. Not at all.
I think that was
been an incredible journey.
It has. Yeah, it's been enjoyable. And honestly, the other stuff was not that good.
And people were going to skip through it anyway on the podcast.
Are you guys skipping out on all my things? I'm so offended.
I mean, comparatively, like say if we go through all the segments right now,
we'd be another hour. It would be another hour.
Exactly.
It'd be another hour. But this was fun. I enjoyed this.
Great.
I'm glad, you know, you got to talk to my dad and meet my dad.
That was so great.
I definitely want to. You know, I bring him on, and maybe it'd be a weekly thing, maybe it's a bi-weekly thing. I'm not sure. We'll work it out. Again, this show it's in its infancy. You know, we're working out the kinks, we're working out things.
It grew legs today.
It did.
Definitely.
It did. And you know, I think I have to work. You know, when I bring people on, I have to work on. I think I'm a pretty good interviewer. I got to work on that. I think I did an okay job.
Episode 3.
I know, but I'm so hard on myself.
Don't be.
I'm so this is the way I am.
With
this is the way I am. I know. But like even then, like when I was talking to my dad, I was like, I talk to my dad on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times per day. And like just bringing him on, I was like, man, I'm fucking nervous to bring my dad on the show. You know, and of course, like, you know,
I gotta say, I didn't notice you were nervous.
Well, I mean, I brought it in a little bit. But yeah, he loves it. He loves to drop curse words. He loves calling Donald Trump a deplorable pea scum. You know?
I love that catchphrase. That's like the
the
epitome of exactly who.
I'm going to go to his
type of
Facebook
person
right
he
now.
is.
Oh, that's exactly who he is.
Yeah,
he'll cut you to the core, but he'll be sweet about it.
Right.
Like if I go to his, I'm going to go to his.
That was him being sweet.
If I go to his Facebook page right now, right, and we just scroll down, right, literally the second post that he has, I'm so disappointed. I thought the auction was going to blow up the deplorable pussy grabbing scum. The next post, right, that's a wedding post. The next post after that, this stabilizing force in quotes in the deplorable pussy grabbing scum's administration is a racist white supremacist. Look, I'm just going to scroll through it. You can see it here on the screen.
He could have a career in comedy, not even just architecture.
That's where I get part of my social skills.
No, definitely.
You know, we always talked about doing a podcast together. He actually thought about when my mother passed, and he was dating again. He actually thought about starting a Twitter account called @dating@60. You know, and just vlogging or blogging and just tweeting about it. He didn't. I wish he did, and I wish him and I did something sooner. But listen,
this is great. This is a great start. Yeah,
it is, and I enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed doing this today. As always, thank you for joining the show. Please hit subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's cool too. I won't be offended. Check us out. Check out the audio version on all platforms: Apple, Spotify,
iHeartRadio,
iHeartRadio,
Stitcher. Yes.
We'll talk to you next week, everybody. Have a good night.